There is one seat in the entire NASCAR garage that nobody wanted to compete for, not because it isn't a good ride, because of how it became available. Now, a name is emerging as the frontrunner to take that seat full-time in 2027, and the way Richard Childress Racing handles this decision is going to say everything about where that team goes next. Austin Hill is being named as the leading candidate to take over the number 33 car at Richard Childress Racing for the 2027 Cup Series season. That report comes from Fox Sports insider Bob Pockrass, and it lines up with what's already been happening on the racetrack. Since stepping into that car following Kyle Busch's death earlier this year, Hill has held his own, in some stretches outperforming his own teammate, Austin Dillon. There's also a roster domino that makes this even more straightforward. Jesse Love, another RCR prospect, is headed to Wood Brothers Racing. That move clears the field and leaves Hill as the only realistic in-house option from the O'Reilly Series pipeline. Hill is 32 years old. He's been building his case all year under circumstances no driver should have to race through, and right now, he's the favorite. Let's be honest about what this seat actually represents. The No. 33 isn't just a car number that got reassigned. It's the seat that opened up after one of the most shocking losses the sport has dealt with in years, the death of Kyle Busch, a two-time Cup champion and one of the most talented drivers of his generation. Hill stepped into that car in the immediate aftermath at a moment when the entire garage was still processing what had happened. That context changes everything about how this decision gets made. This isn't RCR shopping the open market looking for the fastest available driver. This is an organization trying to figure out who can steady that program for the long haul while still honoring what that car represents to the team and to the fans who watched it change hands under those circumstances. Locker room impact here is massive. Teams talk about chemistry constantly, but chemistry means something different when a driver has to walk into a room that's still grieving and somehow perform like nothing changed. By all accounts, Hill has done exactly that. That builds trust fast, the kind of trust that usually takes years to earn. And with the Jesse Love move to Wood Brothers now locked in, RCR doesn't have a deep bench of alternatives sitting behind Hill. This decision has a natural answer building itself in real time. Here's why this is bigger than just filling a roster spot. When a team promotes from within after a tragedy like this, they're not just picking a driver, they're picking a symbol. Whoever sits in that seat long-term becomes the face of how RCR moves forward. Get that choice right, and it becomes a story about resilience and continuity. Such thing, get it wrong, and it becomes a distraction the team can't shake for years. Strategically, promoting Hill makes a lot of sense on paper. He already knows the team, the equipment, and the pressure of that specific situation. There's no onboarding curve, no outside hire, walking into a locker room mid-crisis, trying to learn the culture from scratch. That continuity has real value in a sport where chemistry between driver and crew chief can make or break a season. But there's risk here too, and it's worth being honest about it. Performing well under emotional circumstances for a partial season is not the same as carrying full championship level expectations across an entire year. The scrutiny changes the moment interim becomes full-time. Fans and media stop grading on a curve. If RCR commits to Hill for 2027, he's no longer the guy who stepped up admirably in a hard moment. He's simply expected to win races. Full stop. There's also an organizational risk in having limited alternatives. When Jesse Love left for Wood Brothers, RCR's flexibility went with him. If Hill were to struggle in an expanded role, the team doesn't have an obvious in-house replacement waiting in the wings. That's a bet with very little safety net. Is this the smart move or the risky move? Honestly, it's both, and that's what makes it worth watching. It's smart because continuity and trust matter enormously in a situation this sensitive. It's risky because RCR would be locking into one option without much of a backup plan if the pressure of full-time expectations changes how Hill performs. Fan reaction here is layered in a way most silly season stories aren't. Plenty of fans are fully behind Hill. They watched him take over the number 33 under some of the hardest circumstances imaginable and hold his own against a proven veteran teammate. To that group, this feels like a well-earned promotion, not a favor. Other fans and analysts are asking the tougher question, is RCR making this call because Hill is genuinely the best long-term option, or because the roster situation simply left them without a real alternative once Jesse Love departed? That's a fair question, and it's one RCR will have to answer with results, not sentiment. Media coverage is going to lean heavily on the emotional angle here, and that's understandable given what led to this opening. But the sharper analysts in the industry are already shifting the conversation toward performance, wins, points, and whether Hill can turn a difficult chapter into a genuine long-term opportunity. Best case, Hill gets the full-time nod, RCR leans into the continuity, and he grows into the role the way promising young drivers sometimes do when given a real shot with real expectations. This becomes a story about a team that trusted the right person at the right moment. Worst case, the pressure of full-time expectations is different from stepping up temporarily, and Hill struggles to replicate his current form across an entire championship season. With Jesse Love already gone to Wood Brothers, RCR would be left scrambling for answers with very few internal options left on the shelf. So here's the real question heading into 2027. Is Austin Hill the right long-term answer for that seat, or is Richard Childress Racing simply out of better options? Drop your take in the comments. I want to hear whether you think this is a promotion that's genuinely earned or one that's happening because the roster forced RCR's hand. If you want to be first to know when this decision becomes official, make sure you're subscribed to SportsWire USA. The story isn't finished yet.